Just Like That is about candid conversations with minds on things that matter. And today we have with us Sarah. The last couple of months have been just so unprecedented. The year gone by has been difficult for many of us. Some of us have actually contracted COVID and come out successful. Some of us lost our loved ones as well in the year gone by. With some, we could speak. With some, we couldn't even speak. And then, of course, apart from the human race, there are many others who understand a very different language. Some who speak to us in a very special way, and some who just don't speak to us, but are with us every moment of our lives. Sarah, I know you've been doing a lot of work with the flurries and with the animals through the entire lockdown. And I thought, what better opportunity than to hear your story and take your story just like that to the rest of the world? Because many times we just think so much about ourselves and think about people who can do something for us, but very rarely do we think about people who do nothing for us or can't do anything for us or do something for us in their own special way that might not necessarily be the way humans expect it to be. So, Sarah, welcome to Just Like That, and we'd love to hear your story.
First of all, I'd like to thank you for giving me this platform so I can share my story. And that was honestly a very lovely introduction. So, to start off, I'd like to begin with saying that I am an extreme animal lover. I love animals, and I think that's evident from the fact that I now have 7 cats at home. And people think it's very crazy when I tell them about this, but honestly, it's not that crazy. For someone who really loves animals, they'll really understand from where I'm coming from. So initially we never had a cat at home. It's just when my dad bought in a cat, one leads to another, and it just started from there onwards. And before that, I we had a cat down in the building. We called her Cinderella. We used to feed her. So it just started from there, I think. And my parents also love animals, and I think that's where I get it from. And I'm glad, because I feel like, no, not everyone sympathizes with them, and not everyone knows what they go through on like a daily basis. Imagine being alone, having no family around. They get separated from their parents, they get run over by cars and whatnot. I mean, it's just horror out there on the streets. And on top of that, there are people who then hit them, and then just shoo them away and not treat them nicely. So I feel that's something we really need to improve upon as a society, and really need to think about them. So yeah, I mean, after that, we got in 2 more cats. Anytime I'd see an injured animal, I'd call my mom and I'll ask her, okay, listen, there's an animal here. I can't leave it alone. So I take them to the vet, get them home. I try to get them adopted also, but the sad part is nobody really goes in for an adoption. Even if they do, they're just looking to adopt little kittens, and that's the saddest part. They're not ready to adopt an animal that's been injured or anything
Mm,
like that.
mm,
So I've been feeding since I think 4 to 5 years. Um, Even before that, I used to, but I think it just increased in the past four to
yeah.
five years when I started going to college. I used to feed animals in and around my campus. Even when I started going to an engineering college, I had a couple of dogs there, so they're all so cute, and then they come behind you and it doesn't feel right, just leave them hungry like that. So, I started giving them also food. And
Right.
recently, like, my mom, went to a vegetable shop, and naturally she spotted 3 beautiful white kittens, just, I think 2 months old or so. And she fell in love with them. And doing that, she went to a chicken shop, bought some chicken, and then she gave it to them. And I think that's where we started feeding on a little more larger scale than I used to, just like maybe 4 to 5 animals. And then it just became like 20 to 30 animals, so from one neighborhood to another. So I used to go and feed them every day, but feeding wasn't enough. It was this particular month, but last year, and they fell really ill because it was really cold. They didn't have proper shelter, and they were kittens, and they had such high fever they stopped walking. They weren't eating, so naturally we had to take them to a vet, because the building that they were again living in, the people did not like them. And I mean, that's something I really don't understand, because they're not troubling them, they're not causing any menace around. It's just that they don't like their presence, which again I feel is very wrong, because you're living in your own protected houses under your own shelters, and you have a problem with an animal that's living outside doing nothing to you, right?
Right.
So they fell ill naturally, and we took them to the vet. Their fever was so high, we had to, keep them on drips for 3 to 4 days, and then we brought them home, kept them here, and I tried getting them adopted, but again, people were like, I just got one response saying that, we just adopt one, but they're three siblings, you can't separate them. So naturally, we kept them, and they're with us, and that's how I have 7 cats. The other two have also been adopted. Two we got, like, two of them are Persian cats, the other 5 are all street cats. And the other two we got, I got them from my college. One was suffering from pneumonia, the other one was a small kitten lying unconscious on its back. And I really couldn't see them suffering like that. I couldn't leave them behind. I feel very guilty. So I took
Right.
them, and that's how I have 7 cats right now.
Right. But the whole story, Sarah, is that while it was normal life pre-COVID, you
Yeah.
would go out, you would go to campus, you would go
Right.
to college, you would
Yeah.
feed them, you would
Yeah,
take care of them. But in a situation where COVID, where all of us were
yeah.
constrained to our houses, how did you take the courage to go out and take care of them through the lockdown, given that they were all lonely, didn't have sources of food,
Right.
other issues? So what really motivated you to put yourself at risk just to take care of someone else?
So honestly, I treat them like my little children, if I may. I'm so attached to them, and thinking about them not getting food for even one day was, I was really worried, and so was my mom. Like, both me and her are so attached. So we'd make food every day. We'd go in the night so that we won't find any people, because in the morning, I mean, there are people who mind putting, seeing the meat on the streets. So we'll do that at night so that, we find a peaceful environment. We can go and feed them. They're not scared. So I think the thought of them not having food, and the thing is, they know that we'll come every day to give them food. And the fact is, to crush their hopes like that really, didn't sit well with us. And I think that's something that really pushed us to go and feed them even during the lockdown. So, we'd prepare like a good meal of rice and chicken mixed together, and we'll give the dogs and we'd give the cats, and they'll all eat. And I think at the end of the day, that satisfaction we'd get. I mean, no, we used to spend an hour and a half just doing that. I mean, another hour going into, prepping the food. But it's also worth it, because, when they come to you with, such big eyes and, waiting for that food, because that's the only food they were getting. So,
Correct.
I mean, I just want to, if I can give a message to people, it's just that, I mean, I know everyone's busy in their own lives. Everyone has their own battles to fight. But, at least we have somebody. We have our parents, we have friends. They've got nobody, right? And we don't know what they're going through. So, I mean, if you could just, probably give them a little water if they come to us, pet them. I mean, that's not going to harm you. The birds
So
outside that are so thirsty. So keep a water bowl outside, So things like that, I feel, will make a really
brilliant. I think, Sarah, you said the small things in life are the real things that matter. Thank you so much, Sarah, for coming on Just Like That. And I'm hopeful that with this video going on social media, I'm sure you're inspiring a lot of people, but more importantly, let's have more Sarahs in the world to really go out there and do these small things that really matter.
Thank you so much. So thank you so much for having me and allowing me to, share this story. That means a lot to me, and I hope, someone goes ahead and then feeds us straight.
Absolutely. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks.
Thank you so much, sir.